Hey everyone, it's Yuto from tbsp.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make a quick and delicious dish called buta no shogayaki. This recipe is made with thin slices of pork cooked in a fragrant Japanese ginger sauce. It takes about 25 minutes in total and serves 2 people. Let's get started. Here I have a Japanese style grater which makes ingredients into a paste. I'm starting with the most important ingredient, fresh ginger. I have about 20 grams here and I'm actually left the skin on. I recommend leaving the skin on because it creates a more intense ginger flavour and it's very thin, so it doesn't leave an unpleasant texture either. It saves time on peeling too. Once it's grated, transfer it to a small bowl. Next I have 1 garlic clove. I'm just gonna grate it on here, but feel free to use a garlic press if you prefer. Just 1 clove is plenty because you don't want it to be too overpowering. Next I have a wedge of apple which I'm also going to grate. This should make about a teaspoon worth. Make sure it's peeled because apple skin can create an unpleasant bitter texture. I use apple to add some natural sweetness to the sauce, but you could add a teaspoon of apple juice or smooth apple sauce if you prefer. Finally, I'm grating up about 1 teaspoon worth of onion. This adds depth of flavour. Many shogayaki recipes cook onion wedges in the sauce with the pork, and you can do that too if you like, but I personally like to incorporate a small amount into the sauce instead. If you don't have a grater like this or you want to save time, you can also put all these ingredients into a food processor. Okay, that's all done, so now I'm adding 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 3 tablespoons of sake, 1 tablespoon of dashi, 2 tablespoons of mirin, and 1 teaspoon of honey. Mix that all around, and if there's any large chunks, just take them out. Once it's mixed, set aside for later. Now I'm going to prepare the pork. I'm using 250 grams of thinly sliced pork loin, and it's been resting at room temperature for about 20 minutes. The first step is to make small incisions in the fat around the edge. This will help stop it from curling when we cook it. Pork loin is the most common type used for shogayaki in Japan, but it's also fine to use shoulder or pork belly. This also depends on your preference or what is available to you. Next, I sprinkle both sides with a pinch of salt and pepper. If you have a larger chopping board, you can sprinkle them all at the same time rather than individually. The final step is sprinkling each piece with a little bit of plain flour. This is a technique called dredging and improves the color and texture of the pork. It's also going to pick up more flavor while it's cooking, and the sauce is going to get absorbed better. Not only that, but it also helps thicken the sauce a little bit too. There's so many reasons why we do this step. Okay, that's all done, so let's cook. Take your largest pan and place it on the stove. Don't turn the heat on yet. Add a drizzle of vegetable oil and then evenly place your pork slices around the pan. They should be flat and not overlapping. You might need 2 pans if you don't have a big one like this, or you can make it in batches. Once they're in, turn on the heat medium and allow it to cook until slightly browned on one side. By starting with a cold pan, the heat rises gradually and stops the meat from shrinking suddenly and becoming tough. It takes longer, but this method makes the pork extra tender, so it's definitely worth the time. Once it's slightly browned, you can flip over and add the sauce. Because this pork is thin, it only needs a short time on the other side. Just cook it in the sauce for a few minutes or until the sauce is thickened slightly. Once it looks like this, remove the pork from the pan and transfer it to a serving plate. Finally, I'm going to fry a few Shishito peppers in the sauce. These are kind of bitter and a little bit spicy, but you can substitute them for mini sweet peppers or something like that. After 2 or 3 minutes, remove the peppers from the pan and take the pan off the heat. Shogayaki goes great with salad and rice. Once you've dished up, pour the leftover sauce over the pork. And there you have it, delicious Japanese style ginger pork, buta no shogayaki. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this recipe, feel free to like it and subscribe to my channel for more quick and easy Japanese recipes. Hope to see you again in the next video. Thanks again.